Dear legends in the making, my son is one of the most talented athletes on the field, but I don't trust him. He blames everyone, he shuts down under pressure, and deep down I know skill isn't the same as maturity. Welcome to Legends in the Making, the show for founders, parents, and visionaries ready to lead from clarity, not chaos. I'm your host, Erin Sarles Bowers, mother, movement builder, and truth teller. And this is where we return to who we really are. So let's dive right in. Dear Legend in the Making, I'm a dad of a 16-year-old football player with a full highlight reel. Coaches love him. He's explosive, confident, and has the it factor on paper. But at home, it's a different story. He won't take ownership. He argues with his coach when corrected. He refuses to wake up early unless I push him. I'm realizing something painful. I've spent so much time developing his talent that I neglected to develop his trustworthiness. And now I don't trust that he can handle what's coming. I see flashes of greatness and I see immaturity undermining all of it. How do I help my son become the man who can be counted on, not just cheered for? A father who's waking up. So thank you, a father who's waking up, for such a powerful letter. You know, I think what we often see in sports on all levels most of the time is exactly what you described, is theirs and is that bravado. And we see that bravado on the court. And yes, the teammates and coaches might love him, but when he steps off the court or steps off the field, you know, ultimately, who is he? You know, is he the man that is building a legacy of who he is supposed to be? Because the reality is sports are temporary. You know, we're not going to play sports all of our lives. We may transition into other sports related fields, but at the end of the day, everything that we do and have is momentarily. So it becomes, who are we building? Who are we building within ourselves? Who is the person that we came here to be? And are we being that person in every moment on and off the field? Whether you're running the football or you're sitting at the dinner table with your family, are you being the same person moment to moment, day in and day out? And the reality is talent doesn't prove character. And potential doesn't guarantee purpose. So being amazing at whatever sport he's playing, I don't think you said that in the letter. Football. So football, I apologize. That isn't his sole purpose. His talents on the football field are going to give him the vehicle to serve the purpose that he came here to be, whether that's mentoring other athletes, whether that's starting a business and creating other opportunities for other people. I don't know what that is for him, but the reality is like, just because he has great athletic potential doesn't mean that that's his purpose, and nor is that his sole purpose. It's one vehicle for him to become the man that he is supposed to be. And we have seen our culture has confused this. They've confused being seen with being a solid character person. And oftentimes, when you're flashy and you don't have the integrity and the foundation built underneath it, everything crumbles around you. And so the reality is like, at the end of the day, we have to help our kids understand that who you are and who you're becoming and how you interact with every single person that you come in contact with is equally as important as being great on the football field. How do you speak to your coaches? How do you speak to your other teammates? How do you speak to your mom and dad, your siblings, your teachers? Who are you at the core is what this life is about. Again, Athletics is one vehicle that helps you learn who you're meant to be. It doesn't become your identity. It's just a vehicle for you to find yourself. So, oftentimes there's this myth, if my kid is good enough, the rest will fall into place. And a lot of times we focus solely on skill. And if they have all the tools and skills and speed and stamina, that they're going to be fine. But if we don't talk about the underlying foundation, which is character that's built through integrity, that is solidified through the discipline we have in every moment, day in and day out, every moment we are in choice with, do I act from my highest self? Do I act from the utmost integrity that God created me with? Am I acting from that space, or do I need to take a time out and go, that is not speaking well of my character? So developing skill without discipline is a weapon, but it's not a tool. If your child is leading on the field but not at home, that's not a success. That should be a warning sign. Developing a high caliber, high integrity kid should be every parent's sole focus. It's like, I want to raise them to be a good human being, but we want to raise them to be a high caliber, good human being. Are we raising them to express the fullness of who they're becoming? And again, you can use athletics to help him learn that and understand that. But then how are you taking what he's learning there and transitioning that to every aspect of his life, so that he then not only is leading himself, but he's leading every other individual around him by how he shows up? That's the work that we're here to do. We have to teach them how to lead themselves. How are we using these moments in life to reflect who we're becoming? And if we're not doing that, we should be asking ourselves, why not? Because I think oftentimes what I see in the work that I do is when we start to focus so much on the kid and the kid being a football player and being a great football player, that becomes their identity. And it's like they get lost in who they are. So then they forget that I'm supposed to be a good son. I'm supposed to be a good daughter. If we're speaking to girls in sports, I'm supposed to be kind to my siblings. I'm supposed to be kind to my teachers and classmates, my teammates. Like, who I am is more important than just my athletic prowess on the football field, because people will remember that game, but they will remember far beyond that your legacy of how you showed up. They're going to remember your character. They're going to remember who you were in the tough moments and how did you pick them up. And so, here's some questions every parent should ask weekly. Is my child being held accountable, not just applauded? And a lot of people don't like the discomfort, but there are ways to ask them, what did you think you really excelled at this week? What are areas that you could do better? And what's your plan to address those moving forward? Oftentimes, what I know to be true in all my coaching experience is people always know the answer. They know the answer, so they don't need it pointed out. Are we willing to get them curious enough to explore that, and ultimately in that exploration, then come up with solutions and have a very engaging dialogue? Oh, that's incredible that you think that you have to work on getting up when your alarm goes off. Like, why do you think you hit snooze? What are some things that you think you could do differently? Don't tell them. Seek and get them to understand where the problem lies and what would they be doing differently. Because ultimately, if they can see it, they take ownership and they will implement from that space. When somebody's like, you need to do this better, your first reaction is to put up the walls. Not like, do you think you could do this better? How do you think this works? Become super curious. My best parenting advice is seek to understand. Just be curious. Ask a shit ton of questions. Get curious, get more curious, and get more curious. Are you rewarding the whole of who they're becoming? Or are you just, and not just moments? So how do you even bring in the moments you're celebrating with your child and talk about how that's shaping who they're becoming? Gosh, that is such a mature decision to decide to do X, Y, and Z. I'm really proud of you. And then, do you model what it means to be trusted? Or are you just telling them? If you want him to act and behave a certain way, you have to then look at yourself and go, am I acting the way that I want my child to act? Do I demonstrate some of the things that I myself am noticing? And the reality is most of the time, what we pick up that we don't like in other individuals is stuff that we ourselves hold judgments against ourselves for. And ultimately, we're kind of pointing out our own flaws, but we don't want to take accountability for that. So it's so important to go, am I being the role model that I want them to be? If I want them to be calm and cool and collected in a conversation, am I calm, cool, and collected in the conversation? When things get escalated, how do you de-escalate it? Hey, let's take a time out. I wasn't raising my voice. Why are you raising your voice? Do you need 5 minutes? Do you need 10 minutes? How are we going to come back together? And have this conversation, but we're not going to react to each other like that. So what can I do to de-escalate, and what can you do to de-escalate the situation? That's just one of many examples. But always think, if I want somebody to be honest and truthful with me, am I being honest and truthful with them? And this isn't about shaming athletes. It's about raising the bar. The greatest players are those you can count on in the dark, under pressure, in silence. Talent might get you recruited, but character is going to get you remembered. Don't raise a player you cheer on. Raise a man you can count on. So if you would like to raise an exceptional athlete, if you would like to raise the 1% that's going to change this world, and we need a lot of that, DM me, reach out for a reset to join a completely free 5-day family challenge called Raising Exceptional. This isn't for the parents. It's for both you, the parent, and the student athlete. It's to reset the standard for the entire family. So until next time, continue being legendary.